Canadian businessman and Shark Tank judge Kevin O'Leary recently got into a heated debate with CNN's Abby Phillip on the topic of H-1B visas.
Phillip said that although she supports the visa program, she does think that some companies are abusing it to bring in low-wage workers. But O'Leary argued that the U.S. needs to bring in as much talent as it can.
I do think the H-1B program needs some attention. It needs some degree of reform.
Abby, do you want the next Einstein to come to America or to Shanghai? What do you want?
It's about fighting for talent and people that are brilliant.
I'm not fighting against an H-1B visa, folks. I'm the daughter of immigrants. Both my parents are naturalized citizens of this country.
So you should be for bringing people here.
I am saying there are real concerns that people have about companies that abuse the system.
We're talking about genius, bringing 65,000 geniuses to America.
The nonprofit Project for Immigration Reform criticized O'Leary's arguments, writing on X, "We already have a genius visa. It's called the O1. Clearly, Kevin O'Leary is being dishonest. His own country, Canada, made the same mistake by diluting work visa standards under the pretense that everyone was the best and brightest, which only ended up importing Tim Hortons workers."
The H-1B visa program has been a hot topic of discussion this week after President Trump argued in favor of the program, suggesting that the US doesn't have enough talented workers to fill certain job roles. Meanwhile, data from the Department of Labor shows that the Trump organization requested a record number of foreign workers this year. An article on the Hill's website reads, quote, "The Trump organization requested 184 foreign workers to work across various company properties. That's a record number that has increased over the years. Overall, the company has filed to hire 566 foreign labourers, primarily to work as servers, farm workers, kitchen staff, clerks and housekeepers." You're shaking your head, Amber. What's wrong?
I don't like it. I don't like it.
What don't you like?
I don't like the foreign workers. I don't like the H-1B visa program. I was shocked, by the way, at Abby Phillips actually standing up for the abuse in the system, which is very real. Kevin O'Leary, I think, was being intentionally dishonest because there is a separate visa for people who have special talents. The H-1B visa isn't that. It's meant to be effectively an opportunity for companies who cannot find American workers to hire foreign workers in their place. But there's been massive abuse of the system over the years. There was this infamous case involving Disney where they had actually forced American employees to train their foreign replacements who were working at a lower rate. There's also the fact that a significant portion of American STEM graduates, something like 60%, do not work in STEM fields because they have been crowded out by foreign H-1B visa workers. And so the idea that, you know, we need them, we need the best and brightest, I think is not reflective of what's really happening with the program. And there's an argument, of course, for limited use of those individuals, but what the system does in practice is it lowers wages for Americans and forces them out of key industries.
So first of all, to the Kevin O'Leary point, whether intentionally or not, he is just wrong in what he said, right? He is, by the mention of Einstein, he's referencing the so-called Einstein visa. That isn't the H-1B visa. That is obviously, as its common vernacular name suggests, for people of truly outstanding ability. The H-1B is for people who have a college degree and American companies decide to employ them. To the broader point, I think that the immigration system generally needs to be more based upon the needs of the United States to fill gaps that are there or to meet needs that the US has. And some of the messiness of the immigration system is, I would argue, because it's not, in fact, set up that way. To your point, I mean, we actually, from our different perspectives, are pretty similar, I think, in our views on a lot of this stuff, because you mentioned the abuse of the H-1B visa program. And often the defense of it is, well, there are wage standards in the rules that govern it. The problem, as you obviously know by your mention of the Disney case, is that there's all kinds of loopholes and ways to get around those regulations. So briefly, I mean, one idea is allegedly you can't replace American-born workers with foreign workers at a lower wage. But what you can do is contract the hiring to a third party and then So you own Amberduke Enterprises, and you then, not that you would do this because you're paid.
Well, let's use a real example, Cognizant.
Right, okay, and then you outsource it to me, and I run a hiring company, and I say, no, this isn't replacing those workers. I'm now hiring the workers, and I've decided to pay them a lower wage, and it just so happens that I have a contract with you. So what we've really done is conspire to get around the wage standards and got away with it. And that obvious loophole doesn't really seem to be being closed anytime soon.
Yes, and Trump has given so many mixed messages on this issue. I mean, of course, before the admin even started, there was this debate between Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy and other members of the administration, and Vivek was kind of sidelined amidst this. And then recently, in September, Trump signed an order that would increase the fee that companies have to pay to get an H-1B visa worker up to $100,000. But then publicly, he's on Laura Ingraham's Fox show arguing that we don't have talent in America. Like, are you kidding me? I cannot tell you how mad this made me, Niall. I'm very angry with Trump this week, so you got me on a good day. But oh my gosh, I mean, he goes on the show and he's like, we need the talent. And she says, well, no, we have the talent here. And he said, no, you don't. Mm-hmm. That is such an insult to the American people to say that they're not talented enough. And the Trump organization, I mean, I've been to a number of country clubs. I play tennis in the Northern Virginia area. Not all of them are hiring foreign workers. They're hiring local high school students, college students who are doing good work, in service and maintenance and all of that. So the idea that this is necessary, a lot of these jobs, which is so frustrating, used to be ways for young people to gain experience while they're in college or in high school even, and before they enter out into the real world, quote unquote. And now it's like you go to a McDonald's and there's no high schoolers there anymore, it's all foreigners. And I don't have a problem with foreigners working there, but I would like the American people to be prioritized first so that they can gain those skills, so that they can make money for college to put away. And it just seems like that's kind of disappearing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's valid. I mean, I guess my concern is the foreigners that you see there. I mean, it could be people on green cards, for example, or people who are married to American citizens, or people who, so there's a separate question about the actual immigration status of the people. In relation to the visas that the Trump organization is using, those are intended for seasonal work, whether it's in agriculture or non-agricultural fields. The idea being that it permits, obviously, particularly farmers right, to import workers when they need them, and then that's the end of that. It is, I think, a hard argument to make convincingly that around Northern Virginia, where Trump has some of his facilities, that there's a real shortage of American-born people who are able to do those jobs, and therefore you need to import kitchen staff. I mean, that seems unlikely.
Yes, no, I completely agree. I think this is actually an issue where, like the Epstein files, Trump has a danger of really alienating his base. And there are things heading into the midterms. You need to focus on affordability, obviously, and Trump's political director, James Blair, acknowledged that. But you also cannot pivot so much that you are abandoning the people who are most excited to go out and vote for you. One of the biggest problems with Republicans in midterm elections now is that Trump brought low and mid-propensity voters into the fold. And if you don't motivate them in an off-year election or in a midterm election, Republicans aren't going to do well, especially when Trump's not at the top of the ticket. So this is my warning to Trump, you need to keep your base happy.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that the United States should attract as many talented people as it can, and it is in the United States' interest to have the best people it can possibly have within these borders, irrespective of their country of origin. I do think, though, that comment to Laura Ingraham, where she said about there's talented people here, and he said, no, there aren't, or no, you don't, or whatever.
Yeah, no, you don't have talented people there. It was a slap in the face.
That's not good.
All right, could the loved ones we've lost be part of our future? A new artificial intelligence feature could be making that a reality. Sounds like Black Mirror to me, but stay with us.